Hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm the president and licensed investigator with NetCheck Investigations, a private investigations company established in 1996, and we're operating out of Burbank, California. Today's subject is going to be the duty of care doctrine and how that applies to doing a background check. There are some situations where you want to make sure that when you do a background check, you do the right or the proper allocation of scope or time, the right amount of years in the background check. Typically, a background check goes back 7 years from the end of a conviction, or 7 years if there are no cases. Let's say somebody was convicted of assault with a deadly weapon 10 years ago, they got out of prison last year, even though the original conviction and filing might have been 10 years ago, they were just let out last year, and therefore it's within the 7-year period of the end of a sentence. It's not by the conviction time, it's usually calculated by the end time of the sentence or probation or parole period. So the duty of care doctrine allows a credit reporting agency such as ourselves to go back and look at a further scope or distance in time, not just 7 years from the end of a conviction. And the reason is there are certain conditions or situations where getting more information about someone's character and history is relevant to the situation. So typically a scope of 7 years is the normal scope for a background check, for employment, for tenant screening, for general purposes. The duty of care doctrine gives 3 different exclusions. Exclusion number 1 is if the job or the situation relates to people who are not fully competent or cognitively challenged, for example, children, the elderly, some with disabilities, and so you're allowed to go back further in time than 7 years. Typically, you can go back 15 or 20 years, and in fact you should. You don't want a caregiver who was convicted of child molestation 8 years ago to not be found as a convicted felon. You want to go back further than 7 years. The second category are individuals that have a specific function or role or duty that is broad and overreaching. For example, a chief executive officer, chief financial officer, a treasurer, controller, CPA. People have access to personal records, social security numbers, dates of birth. If they have unfettered or complete access to lots of information or data, you want to be able to go back more than 7 years. Again, 15 to 20 years is the rule of thumb. The third category is when people have access to either credit cards or $10,000 a week in cash. For example, a clerk, somebody who works, let's say, taking credit cards at a restaurant, the possibility of criminal misconduct or embezzlement or fraud in the past might be related to them handling money. So again, you can go back 15 to 20 years on their background to see if they have a pattern of misconduct. What if, for example, you hire a cashier, you do a regular search, doing 7-year search, you find nothing, but you found out that they were released from prison for fraud, embezzlement, all these terrible things maybe 9 years ago, and they maybe did a 20-year sentence. Well, if you did a duty of care doctrine search, you would be able to find that, and your credit reporting agency, investigations firm, would be able to find that and report it. So it's important that you understand that because you have a specific assignment, a specific role, or access to information, that in some cases you can expand the scope of search to beyond 7 years, and that's called the duty of care doctrine, which is the expectation that an employer or a property owner or landlord would go further back than the 7-year general statute. And so I hope that's very helpful. If you need more information or have questions, please write to us at info@netcheckpi.com. Be safe, and I'll talk with you soon. Thank you.